I now start to think, wish I could toggle back and forth to make it easy. So I now start to think, how do I bring Sunday worship home? Oh, better yet, I'll do the Lutheran example. Hold on. Where is she? This is Tri-Saints Lutheran Parish in Byron and Hardy, Nebraska. Staff, 1 pastor, who's a mom with kids. Okay, so Breen is the pastor. This is her Sunday worship website. It changes every week. Okay, now Tri-Saints Lutheran, those towns are as small as they sound. Okay, so Hardy, I don't think if you read it, but it's Hardy and Byron, Nebraska. So Breen was part of a pilot project I did with Nebraska Synod 2 years ago. So she created a weekly website, just this one page for Sunday worship with extender pages. So if you miss Sunday worship, there's a whole page there with her sermon, all that kind of stuff, so in case you can catch up, so to speak. But then this coming week, she has a key Bible verse for the week, the focus word, and then she has dig deeper Bible devotions, and she has daily devotions, and she has some quiet Lenten prayer. From this one page, she's extending Sunday into the whole week. She's created a network around Sunday worship. So if you click on daily dig deeper devotions, let's see what we got. All right, she always has a coloring prayer for kids. So you click on this, you're going to go to, oops, can't be found. Oh, wrong link. So here's her good God ideas for a quiet Lenten prayer and journal. So she's curated this. She didn't write this. She curated this. Here's a dig deeper devotions for kids. And this is from the Episcopal Church website, lesson plans that work. Then she has, let's see, Journey Around the Cross resources. She has instructions for this. So what she's done is she links to these activities. Now this one she wrote, there she is. So this is a way to mark time during Lent. She has all the materials you'll need. This is on her blog, including wood stain. Be careful with wood stain. Okay. She always has the cartoon of the week from a group called, well, Agnes Day, Agnus Day, .org. And then she has Chuck Knows Church about Lent. And I guess their theme this week was going to be newly hatched chicks. Chickens have been a theme today. Yeah. She has a video on that. She does this every week. If people just pick just one activity to do as a family or do with your kids, she's extended Sunday worship. So the digital platform extends what she does Sunday. So, best thing about Vacation Bible School in the summer, it's 5 days. Worst thing about Vacation Bible in the summer is, it's just 5 days. And those 5 days, if you're a typical Vacation Bible School in the summer, here comes everybody, because you're the cheapest babysitting in town. So you get the whole spectrum of religious diversity, from the actives to the unaffiliateds. And then you do nothing with it. You had all of those families, and you did nothing. Shame on you. So now you think about this approach and say, what would it be like if every month we did a monthly activity, devotion, prayer, Bible study, around the Vacation Bible School content, September, October, November, December, January, and maybe January was Advent, Christmas, and maybe March was Lent. I have a whole year's worth of content. There's so much extra content in those Vacation Bible Study kits that you don't even use oftentimes, but you got that content as well. And it's all digital now. So you started a relationship with people at Vacation Bible School. How can you continue that relationship? On a digital platform that continues to generate new content and connects with people all year long. There's nothing that can't be networked. There's nothing that can't be networked. There's nothing that can't be networked. If you design the program from the start, knowing we're gonna build a digital platform around this, that'll change the design process. Now, if you started thinking about churches doing this over 12 months of just with their existing gathered programming, what would that church be like a year from now? See, what happens is you start building that ecosystem I started with this morning. You start getting intentional about what? Connecting with families, building intergenerational, being lifelong. You build that out. And you don't stop doing anything on campus. You simply expand that in a digital platform. Regardless of content, the possibilities are endless, absolutely endless. Okay, so the middle one in our diagram, the middle one, let's do this so we have it up now. So the middle one is flipped classroom. Now, if you build the flipped classroom, this is where the Khan Academy came from originally. By providing all this online digital content that's high quality, you can now flip the classroom, which just means what? Teachers don't need to teach the content. Kids can learn that on their own and using their devices and the rest in video form, in online form. So when you come into class can be demonstration, application, practice, laboratory, basically. So it transforms the classroom as well as transforming what the kids do. So homework becomes classwork, and classwork becomes homework. It relies on having what? Great digital content, usually in video form. So I work with a number of churches that have flipped confirmation prep. Now, the benefit of this is you can personalize and customize it. So if you have kids stretched out across that whole continuum of spirituality, what would you like to customize confirmation around the kids? What do teenagers hate the most? Besides church. What they hate is being part of, treated as if they were one group, not with differences. Being able to personalize and customize around where people actually are in their faith journeys is an opportunity you have only in a couple of kinds of programs. Confirmation is one of them. So what happens if you flip the content and personalize what people are learning? So when they come into a group setting, they can interact, they can practice, they can discuss, they can create, they can demonstrate what it is they're learning. So I work with a really large church. They have 400 kids in 9th and 10th grade. It's St. Edward the Confessor in Dana Point, California, right in the Pacific Ocean, look down at the oceans. But it's a huge Catholic parish, about 5,000 households. It's a small diocese. And you can imagine weekly confirmation classes with 400 kids. Youth minister's job was crowd control, not learning. So they decided they have great digital content. What would it be like if they only met monthly? Organize the kids into small group teams, deliver the content online, had an adult mentor for each of the small groups. And for 3 weeks they were doing individual and small group learning, and the 4th week they came together in a large group. The other thing they were fighting was regular weekly participation. Most of the job was enforcement of the policy of attendance. By flipping the classroom, what ended up happening was the attendance just skyrocketed for each of the monthly programs because they customized it around the busy lives of people. So, more learning going on because it's in a flipped classroom. better participation when they actually gather, and a whole lot more learning going on at the same time. Those experiments are popping up everywhere. Why? Because you have this abundance of great digital content. The Diocese of Wheeling, Charleston, West Virginia, Roman Catholic Diocese, has invested in a 4-year plan in which they're creating short 5-6 minute videos around the Catechism of the Catholic Church. A year on creed, a year on sacraments, a year on morality, and a year on prayer and spirituality. With all of that content, it'd be easy to flip a confirmation program because the kids would have access to those high quality videos, study questions, a small group to interact with. St. Edward the Confessor built all of this on a digital platform behind a firewall, so kids have to sign into it. You can get that for free by just setting up an Edmodo classroom. You familiar with Edmodo? Edmodo is an online classroom. Teachers can use it with their kids. It's meant for children on up. And the kids so it's got Facebook-like features in it. Kids can interact. Oh, I should show you what it. This is free. You can sign up a group. I want an example. Let me see if I can get an example. Let's try teachers and see if we get one. I don't want to sign up, I want an example. So it's I'm not going to get a picture. They used to have an example right on the front page. Well, I'm sorry. I thought they had a living example of how it worked. Now it's going to sign in. Okay. But imagine some of the Facebook-like features in an online classroom, so the kids can be interacting with each other. Teachers can put assignments on there, activities on there. The kids can share with teachers. There's a calendar. Teacher communicates. There's apps for it. So basically, it's a sign-in, online protected classroom where you can do online learning with children and teenagers. Obviously, you can do this with adults with no problem at all, in all kinds of settings. That allow you to flip the content into an online platform. So when we're in person, it's performance, demonstration, practice, discussion, activity. I suggest to people all the time, the rite of Christian initiation of adults, our initiation process in the Roman Catholic world, you have a similar process for initiation. Imagine if you flipped initiation so that people were doing reading, videos online, so when they came together, it was discussion, activity. So the content moved to individual or small group, and when we gather, it's experiential and hands-on and immersive. That's the middle piece. And then the last one's over. We're moving more online. So this is mostly online. So I'm doing a distributed Bible study. People are doing it on their own, but we meet the first session, the fourth session, and the 8th session. The rest you do on your own. So there's some gathered pieces, but it's mostly online with some gathered piece. And all the way over is fully online. This is the 40 days of Lent online. You come to Ash Wednesday, before you can get ashes, you have to sign in with your email address. No email, no ashes. And then, on a magnet, card, the rest, I have a QR code that takes them to my Lent page. And on my Lent page is a 40-day journey through Lent. I've got it all staged out for them. The QR code goes right there. All I gotta do is just scan their QR code. I'll also give them the web address. They go right there. Videos to watch, devotions to download, things to experience, daily prayer. I can do something every day. I can do a Lenten calendar. I haven't written any of this content. So These videos were created by other people. Last year, Catholic Relief Services did this whole collection of videos on what is Lent. I can put them on there. Busted Halo does this wonderful thing called their Lenten calendar. Busted Halo. Yeah, this is one of the first Catholic online media services. This was way back in the early 2000s they were doing this. Yeah, this has been a while. But this is their contemporary pop culture. I just don't know how they figured out to have George Carlin on their Lenten calendar, but they have a quote from him that works.
That gives it credibility.
Well, it does.
For me, it does.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Now you got me thinking about joining, John.
You're liking my Holy Trinity adults.
I want to go to that church.
And there's the Luther Seminary on the left, their devotional for this year. In other words, I could pattern this with resources. I could do a day. Now, if you're really connected, if I collected all your email addresses before I gave you ashes, gave you the QR code, every day I send you a little text or an email through Constant Contact, Flocknote, MailChimp, online today, boom, 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 here's the link. So every day for 40 days, I wouldn't do more than that, you get today online. So the website is the stable platform, and the interactive communication piece is my social media. I could have on my website, especially if I tell kids to do this, every week post one thing you're doing this week for praying, fasting, or almsgiving, and send a picture up. I could do an Instagram with a hashtag just for Lent 2016, though that would probably be taken. I'm going to be a little more creative. I've just broadened my campus. I'm promoting family faith transmission. I'm doing adult faith formation, but I haven't created any of the programming. I don't have time to create all this programming. But I can curate that and create the delivery systems and platforms and pick the right content for my people in my community that meets their needs and audiences and tradition. Without this, trying to do the new ecosystem and trying to be adaptive and innovative would be impossible. Like at the end of today, if you were a typical church group, at the end of the day I said, here's the 30 new programs you need to introduce over the next 3 years, people will be slumping under the table. So we need new technologies to allow us to do what? High quality faith formation, available anytime, anywhere, any place, 24/7, 365, tailored around people's real lives, but that moves all of us forward. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what churches are trying to do. It's pretty remarkable. What are you thinking?
I'm loving it.
So whether it's children and parents, teens, adults, young adults, older adults, the whole community, it all works.
I like it, but going to my mind, what about those that are in a place where there's a severe digital divide?
Yeah.
And this automatically excludes some of congregations that are a variety of socioeconomic classes.
Some of these could be a technical fix. So my example of setting up an internet cafe in church. Some people don't have internet access. It's not whether they have the gadgets or not. There's just no broadband coming into their community. So that's kind of an advocacy issue, okay? So some communities just don't have high speed. They have to use dial-up. God forbid, dial-up. You know, you dial it up now and then watch the YouTube video at dinner time. So some of that exists. The other thing about the divide is that some of our older adults simply are not going to have access to the technology, nor do they want to. So this is an opportunity for intergenerational.
I'm thinking, though, my wife is a teacher in Chicago Public School.
Right.
And in the neighborhood where she teaches, a majority of those do not have internet. The city has access, they cannot afford.
Right.
Maybe they might have one device.
Right.
You know, but that's it.
The school doesn't have like a computer lab or anything like that?
No, not yes and no.
Okay.
But this again, this is for church, not for school.
So how's the public library?
It's 18 blocks away, and they only stay within the 6 blocks.
Okay.
Some of
No. See, I think that's a technical solution. I think that's putting our heads together saying, how do I get these kids internet access? Because if you're a kid growing up today and you don't have internet access, it's like having no shoes. You know, it's going to school in the wintertime with no shoes on. You know, it's just like, you know, like internet access is just the lifeblood of kids growing up today because it's their portal to the world. And so that's a technical solution we have to fix.
I think it's also a justice issue.
Absolutely.
That'd be more than a technical issue.
Yeah.
When I get at, because there are, in Chicago, people that they don't have electronic shoes.
Yeah.
That they are going to fail because of that.
Yeah. But I think this is a cause where a little advocacy and a little kind of donors choose approach. I love the donors choose. Are you familiar with donors choose? I mean, it's just a brilliant idea where you could actually fund a teacher in a classroom to do something. It's just, if you're not familiar with donors choose, just Google it tonight, donors choose. But you can do your own little donors choose to collect the technology. There's a lot of people who have first generation, well really second generation iPads, who are now on, you know, generation 5 iPads. What do you do with them? Well, they'd love to donate it to a nonprofit and get something for their tax write-off. So if I'm in downtown Chicago, what I'm not looking at my neighbors in downtown Chicago. I'm looking at my neighbors out in Schaumburg.
Right.
I'm looking at my neighbors out in Evansville. You know, I'm looking around at where can I access my network of churches. So I'm on a Lutheran church. I want to see other and put the word out. We need XYZ for, you know, Holy Trinity in downtown Chicago because we can get the internet access into the church, but I got to put some devices in kids' hands.
Excellent, thank you.
And so it's a justice issue, it's a technology issue, it's an educational issue. There's just no reason why we can't solve that problem.
Well, and it's things like the ELCA recognizing that might be a new mission start, right? Like a computer lab is the new mission start that the ELCA is going to fund, and there's going to be a mission developer there, and it's going to be about, you know, I mean, that's the kind of creative.
Do you have a crowdsourcing donation process?
Not yet.
One of these days.
Can I make a little diversion? Because I think this kind of gets out, we want to get people up to speed, especially in our underprivileged communities, okay? Because sometimes it's not about money, it's a whole variety of other things, you know, so, but how do we get access? Because I think 21st century faith formation learning education is all built around internet. You know, why are we trying to, you know, provide internet access in Africa? Because once people get online, they get connected. And once they get connected, life changes. And we just know that. The greatest the highest percentage of cell phone saturation, you know, in terms of growth, is in Africa. They just kind of leapfrog all the other technology going right to the smartphones and tablets because that gives them access. And once you have access, you have markets, you have knowledge, you can learn. That edX example, people are doing, you know, undergraduate degrees using the curriculum at Harvard and MIT, and they're in a village somewhere in Uganda. But they can access it with a solar charging station. So I want to show you this is what the Unitarian Church in New England has done. Fascinating site that you could steal this idea. No, that's not it. Hold on a second. This was part of what I did with Aldi. Millennials have, you know, and Generation Xers have really popularized the crowdfunding approach. So this is Donors Choose. I love this approach. And they were big on Giving Tuesday. They just did a lot of things. This is Donors Choose, support classroom ability, but you fund the teacher. You bypass the hierarchy, in quotes, and you go right to the teacher. You just put request up there, but any parallel to church is purely coincidental. So this was a project, I was part of this one, that's why I put it up there. This is one of the classrooms in New Haven, Connecticut, which is a poor town. This was Booker T. Washington Academy. They wanted multicultural books for their kids. They wanted 36 books. And across the top, the teachers had to go of $547. Donors Choose buys all this stuff, and really discounted stuff. Okay? So this was chapter books. This was another group. And then once you donate, you get a letter back from the teacher, and usually a picture of the kids. Here's the kids with the books. What's not to like about this? This is just, not only do you pick the project, so it's so like, I want the money to go here for this, and the amount you want to give. You can even opt out of giving Donors Choose 15% for their overhead. Yeah, amazing. And then you get a response from the teacher. When the project is fully funded, you get letters from the kids if you want, that kind of stuff. It's just gold. This is Faithified. They just took a page out of the crowdfunding movement. And so here's their page for